Crow? I didn't start it. What the fuck is that one-liner? The word misread can be misread as misread. Don't you fucking lunges.
Leave me alone.
I'm not touching you.
She's touching me. She's touching me.
I'm not touching you.
You're touching me.
Not touching.
Touching me.
It's free air.
Crow's making me do everything. Cat bean. Yeah. I had to, You're a good boy voice. I had to read that, buddy. That is better. Oh, I forgot to change this one's ears. But I forgot to change something. Alright. Oh. Thank you for the 25 bits. See, I had bits, but I spent them all on Crow. Pretty sure of that. It was worth it. I do have food. I didn't finish eating. But Aurelia's voice, so much love. That would be a no voice. I just like no. Oh my god. I said a fucking screenshot at the top part. I didn't get that part though. How you? Oh my god. Or sorry. Christ was all that was said, by the way, Risa. That was all that was sent to me. Yeah. Gross bad. Gross. Finishing my sandwiches, that's so much. So hard now. I don't think anyone could handle that. Got me having an idea. It was an evil idea. No, I've been trying to finish my sandwich. I made a sandwich. You know, I have to tell everyone that I'm gonna mute myself so I can give Risa an idea. Risa agrees with my idea. I'll do it. I am thinking about North. Oh my god. Yep, this is just poor voice. Voice isn't. Bro, why are you breaking your game? Uh-huh. Alrighty. Start this. Y'all want me to leave the music up? Or do y'all want me to, like... Oh, yeah, it's on cooldown. It doesn't... I will be the one reading today, boys. Yes, Crow, we know you can read. I'll just turn... You stopped listening in on their conversation as the two grown-ups chatted about each other and a little of you. Karen wasn't as polite. He sighed at the continuation of their adult greeting. Maybe he thought that was boring stuff. Hugh snickered softly while giving Darren a small shove with his shoulder. It brought some liveliness back and got Darren to smile. Mama noticed a cluster of kids then. Her eyes fell on you and our conversation with the teacher stopped. Beanie, I made it, and hello again, Q. Hi, Grim. You missed stuff. Let's just take that. No, hi. She strolled further into the room to join you. Miss Murray stayed by the door. It was the rest of this fun. Mama asked wonderingly, what's across the faces of the other kids still there. You really can. Oh my god. Really not. I need a timeout. My face is red as a tomato right now. Oh, I gotta break Beanie here. Turning down my heater now. What's the bog? What's the bog for? Anything that bog could be for right now. He's just gonna sit here for a moment. Water. And it's like, it's... Oh my god. Bro. There's a way for my V model to show how red I am. I would so allow it because God. Oh my god. Is that wrong? Fun fact. Bro knows how pale I am. So he knows my face could get red. This is an innocent as fuck game. Meanwhile, my chat is not as innocent at all. does that even, bro? Not even. Yep. That. I mean, oh my god, voice. Alrighty. Class was long over, and you were too closely gathered for it to be random. Happened to be nice. I thought why you'd all come together was great interest. Two of those people were cute. Nate and your neighbor, and it was her as usual. Without a reply. Never took long to think about what she. That's why she was always so far ahead of everyone. You're Beanie's mama? Wow. You look like her mom. Thank you, some bits did end up in. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Tamaki blurted out. yelled fiercely. Never say it like that. Tell her proud. Didn't know why Tim cared. It wasn't ever. Tim just one. Sunk into yourself, feeling bad about Tim. Thanks. A playful slug to your mom. Tim felt tired to have more. I looked as Phineas like I'll drop, but Mom had a reply for that question ready for you.
Boo.
And her. It always has been. We'll come by to visit. Tamrick wasn't gonna say you hadn't even met. You'd only been told stuff about it. You're younger. Most of that race and nationality. And hers too. That way you can you were and we could enter our own race. Didn't care though, you didn't remember that. Remember though. Think bitch and that's what about and that same time your mom was going about having you in the place worked. I'm sorry. Very sorry about that. Didn't have her boyfriend that she wanted a kid, so had you. Mama talked about how you didn't our other person to have a baby. It only took part. She was able to get that from us. Kind of confused that you're able to understand whoever your dad was, your parent. Guy Mama didn't know and you didn't know. She liked it that I was just happy with the life you got, but did hope you could. You just had to think you would never have a dad. You're mad at him for having kids, and I'm mad at your mom for picking a guy like that. Hard to think about him, but you were to show other people out of you. Like those. Someone else would have gotten in the almost. Oh, okay, sorry. Riding Timur pinched and pulled at the frayed edge. One finger slipped through. It was gonna rip even more. That might have been why it was torn. That's fine, you didn't know. Now you do. There's a lot of not knowing for her and you, but you did recognize the tone your mom Tamrick. Low voice with an extra emphasized bend to the word. Not mad this time. Jump again, isn't that right? Tamrick gave a tiny nod, stretching the striped sleeve all the way past the tip. Conversation had been dominated by Tamrick, but still hanging around the boys' clubs. They could hear everything said about your family. Tried to figure out their reaction. He was still side shifting an gaze between the friend on his left and the one on his right. Billy seemed like the teacher at the classroom, keeping a certain eye on the students for any sign of trouble. Two of them were on their best behavior, quiet and blinked face. He realized you were watching, he became regular old Autumn again, grinning wide. Well, it's good to meet you, Tamrick. That dropped Tamrick's jaw. She was certain she hadn't said her name yet. You knew me? Not for sure, but I thought you looked like to be our neighbor, Tamrick. Not bashful, Tamrick hid her face with her hands. Sweater was finally released, her squeezing. While she wasn't looking, Mama gave you a sneaky wink. You told her enough about yesterday for her to figure it out. What about everyone else? The question was kind of forced. There was still an awkward feeling left behind after taking up your dad. That you never met. That was something they were gonna figure out sooner or later, so after all, it was kind of good it got settled with everybody at once. Baxter took the initiative, properly introduced himself. My name is Baxter. I don't go to the school. I attend Jarrett Wit Academy. You do? That's quite impressive. Thank you. You were starting to think you couldn't feel uncomfortable, even if you wanted to. He was a cool cucumber, so much he stuck that way. You made a weird face far too long. Except you were pretty sure adults were lying when they said it happened. You got the conversation to change, though. Mom was more at ease and gave a purposeful look at the only kid unspoken yet. And you are? I'm Darren. That's my mom. Darren couldn't meet her eyes. Instead, he stared at his shoes. He lifted an arm to the door. Miss Murray was leaning against the wall there. Her arms were patiently. Mama shifted her gaze between the students and the teacher with a big smile. As a mama, she liked seeing other parents with their kids. It was fun for her, you guessed. Nice to meet you. His cheeks poked out like a frog. It was so fast and unexpected, Mama laughed. Josie did not like laughing at other kids or other adults. Not unless they were telling a joke. She laughed at everyone's jokes, even ones that weren't funny. Mama pressed her palm against her chest and breathed in through her nose to steady herself. You've really been here 2 days, and I already need almost a count all the acquaintances you have. You work fast. She tilted a grin your way, raising one brow higher. Are you ready to go? Mama, me and Tamara were one. Come with that. Certainly, I'd be happy to bring you back. Mama stayed put despite that agreement. Unsure, not about you or Tamara, but the 3 other kids who were left. That was when Miss Murray got off her perch and came to stand by her son. I'm driving Darren, Q, and Baxter to my house. I'll call the boys' parents to let. Seems well arranged, everything. Got your bags already, too. You should really be going then. Have a good day, boys. The parting smile and a gesture of her hand to follow, Mama turned and walked away. Bye. See you, everyone. You're around, you dorks. I'm out of here. Joked. Goodbye. Safe, okay? Finally free, you said with a dramatic sigh. You stuck your tongue out at the boys while her back was turned. You waved behind you. Waved with both hands over your head. Silently went after Mama. See you and Baxter said bye as the 3 of you were leaving. Darren only looked at the big group of girls. Bye, Q. Bye, Darren. Bye, Baxter. Bye, teacher. He yelled over her shoulder while sticking close to you and Mama. After that, yeah, Tamara whispered just to you. Sorry again. Not to feel bad. Mama held the door open for you to drop by, and she followed you out. First day of school was over. Took the same exact path out you come in. Just going in the opposite. Down the stairs through the checkered hall and big double doors in front. When you're outside, the way home changed. You had to go through the almost empty parking lot at the side of the school building. Mama had brought the car to come get you. Crispy clouds hung over your group of 3. Nobody else was out. They'd already gone home, probably. Or still in the classroom. Henrik ran freely across the tarmac. He had to figure out which car to go to. Nobody else was parked anywhere nearby. Hi, Mad Dog. You and your mama strolled side by side until you rejoined Tamara's vehicle. When she unlocked it, Mama opened the back side door. You were too little to sit in the front, according to her. Yes. Damn it, Tarek was too small. Just practically the same size as you. Phone is ringing. Oh, I'll be right. You don't need to relive it, Crow. You don't need to relive it. Thank you for. Yeah, my turn. She was. He found out that Tamarick didn't want to sit there. She liked the middle. It was funny how round and weird it was. It also like being able to see it up front easy. But you both stepped in and Mama got into the drive. Tamarick told you about how she put her Omi off from the spot all the time. Even though neither of them were in that car, she was happy to like the window seats. All you wanted to sit in the front. Crazy for liking a bad spot. Never won the middle, so it was good you take it. You never won the middle. I can read that. It didn't make a difference wherever you sat. See what's your favorite too. You like the window. After Mama double checked that everyone had their seatbelts on, out of the school lot. He jiggled in the front cushion because of all the bright vibrations of the car. Seatbelt wasn't just good for crashes. It also could stop you from slipping out of your seat. It was quiet besides the humming sound that also came from the way the car moved. The world looked different from the backseat of a car. Blur golds, browns, and reds filtered out of the corner of your eye. But you could see ahead, there was a stream of blue coming up now. Then it all slowed down. You could see individual trees and their branches, and the leaves hadn't fallen. The sky seemed more solid. The neighborhood was already in reach. It had been a whole journey in the morning, walking with Q and Tamarick. That trip only took a few minutes, driving with Mama and Tamarick again. Mama parked at the end of your road right in front of your house. It wasn't a garage to use, but it didn't really matter if you parked on the street. You couldn't block the path if it didn't go anywhere else. You, her, and Tamarick got up and stood around together out on the sidewalk. Thanks for driving, Beanie. Over to my house now. A lot had happened since she talked about that in the classroom still. Tamarick hadn't forgotten the plan she made. Visit to the Bumon house. Am I invited too? That's right. I hadn't been there when I'd come up. Funny seeing Mama ask permission to go over to someone. She was the person who was supposed to decide if it was okay to do something. But your Mama was nice. Yeah. Thank you. I had been hoping to meet the rest of our neighbors, but I waited for people before making the way. I'm going to try to do that, even if Mama didn't ask. so maybe. Alrighty, eyes back. I almost clicked on auto. My bad. I read that. The now leader spun around to change direction and marched down the sidewalk towards the big gray house next to yours. There's no way you'd get left behind. Stuck right by her while your mama went along after you both. As Summer got closer, her pace got faster. Steady strut had turned into a speedy skip by the time she reached. She was eager to get home, or she wanted to make sure she arrived there first. Tamrick smacked the doorbell and held it all the way down with her whole hand. It wasn't the kind of doorbell you had to press over and over to get it to work. As long as she pushed it in, a deep chime rung through the walls. Ding dong, and on and on. Tamrick squeezed the doorbell under her tiny hand. It wasn't gonna stop. Your mama acted like the parent she was and spoke down to the other kid here in the reassuring voice. I think it's okay, you can let go. Mama understood appropriate behavior in the grown-up world better than any elementary schooler would. That wasn't it. But all the stress and got was the same knowing assurance right back. Now it's okay, what if Omi is asleep? You'd be trapped outside forever. Tamrick was an adult, but it was her house, she knew the rules. And for all you knew, she might have gone to make up the rules herself. She was so amazing. Maybe, but... While your mama softly tried to urge Tamrick to free the push button, the bell kept going and the door opened. Your nose realized it happened before even your eyes could. It had gotten blasted with a perfumey smell so fast, like a human-sized spray of air freshener went off. The person who answered the non-stop call of the bell was a lady with long, pale blonde hair, going almost all the way down her back. Her nose was tiny. That must have been how she lived with the smelliness. She was smiling gently. Just about every part of her looked flowy and delicate. Only one thing was different, her necklace. That was big and gold and seemed like it'd be pretty heavy. Maybe she needed an anchor to stop herself from blowing away in the wind. I'm here. Welcome back, young lady. Hi, and you've brought guests. Hello. Karen finally slipped her hand off the button. She needed it to wave. Hi, Omi. Hello. Good to meet you. I'm Opal Second. This is my daughter, Beanie. The two of us recently moved in. We arrived only yesterday. Ah. Her voice, which was another fragile thing about her, strained in a high-pitched exclamation. I thought that was you. I heard you were coming after all. That's why I swept up the porch and left the welcome mat. Oh, that was you? I appreciate the gesture. Yes, it was. My little way of greeting the newcomers to our quiet street. You had known that Matt was out of place in front of the worn house. Another mystery was solved. This time, the culprit was Tamrick's family member, rather than Tamrick herself. This woman chattered on, like leaving people unexpected stuff was nothing and normal. My name is Dorothea. Tamrick is my only granddaughter. Her father is my only son. And I do have a husband, Ernest. He's still alive, but I ought to introduce him to you myself. Lord knows he won't do it on his own. Pressed the top of her hand to her forehead, craning back. Dangles on her necklace, clinking against each other. Spumon acted very tired. And it probably was an act. He had to think so, since she sounded amused. It was like having a hard time. How she had a good time. If you see a crotchety old man wandering about, that's him. Don't you worry, he's not mean, even if he looks it. Just remember that Mr. Bowman's more afraid of you than you are of him. It is good to meet the both of you, Opal and Beanie. The last part of our introduction was to you, Mama. It was just towards you. You can call me Granny. Yeah, okay. Alright, Granny. I'm a Spooman. Nice to meet you, Granny. Omi is German. Am I allowed to do that? I don't wanna. How come you're Granny to some people and Omi to Tamrick? I won't do that. You're not my grandma. Chirped your mama. Were you allowed to do that? Stared at her up at her blankly. You smiled and nodded. You shook your head unhappily. Let's go. Nice to meet you. Not at you, wide and welcoming. Any you meant getting a new granddaughter. Hey, Omi. Tamrick cut into the conversation with a sharp grin and her brows tight. She flapped one of her two long sleeves to draw even more attention. Beanie's my best friend. That announcement caught everyone by surprise, including you. Person it was about. This woman's eyes got way bigger than you thought they could with how they looked normal. I didn't know that. When did you make a best friend? Okay. Said so, chuckling, like her granny was silly for not being able to figure that out. Tamrick really thought you were her best friend. Tamrick was so nice. That was the best thing ever. Why would she? You couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. That was too incredible. That didn't make any sense. Friend, but you weren't sure she was the best one. That was what you thought about her, too. You didn't think you deserved that. That's what you thought about her, too. Didn't even know what to do. So you did notice the way your mama was watching the matching happy expressions on Tamrick's and yours faces. This woman was as enthusiastic as her granddaughter and her best friend. Oh, please, come inside and sit. Need to get acquainted. No one had ever insisted you see their house before. Unless what Tamrick said at school counted. You guess that's why Tamrick was that confident about saying you can come over. Why she told you to do it instead of ask. Fresh. Nope. Dang. Granny had the same attitude about people. That would be lovely. Sun went deeper into lips already echoing in the soft space. Eric ran after her. Let's go, Beanie. But Mama were following behind Tamrick again, though this time it was her grandma who got led to everyone. Who got to lead everyone. I could read. Mama shut the door after her. The outside cold wasn't excited. It didn't only smell like old people inside the house. The air was stiff like it had gotten old, too. The staircase went up, and a narrow hallway went deeper inside. Huge flowers patterned the paper. What? I think so. It didn't only smell like old people inside the house. The air was stiff like it had gotten old, too. Nothing. It's just the way it... Also, oh, nope, crows make me do jumping jacks. Shit, I wasn't counting. Ah. Thanks, Crow, for that. Can't believe I lost count of how many I was doing. I kind of wish you kept the prop. There we go. Okay. Staircase went up and a narrow hall went deeper inside. Huge flowers patterned the wall. The paper clustered over the walls. You could see the walls anyway. The hall was crowded with shelves and tables, and those were cluttered with more things. It was sort of like walking through an exam, with all the fancy pieces to see. But it was also reminded you of a storage closet that was stuffed with things you have nowhere else to put. Maybe a closet in a museum? No, you didn't know any museum or closet that had colorful candy sitting in the worn silver dish, the way this house did. There are two kinds: bright see-through hard candies and see-through plastic wrappers, and a pale taffies you couldn't see through that were twisted up in waxy paper. Mom passed by you, not even looking at the candy bowl. The side table it sat on was much closer to your height than her. It was right in front of your face. Mama, miss, can I have candy? Hey, I want some candy. Tugged in your mom's cardigan to get her attention. Candy. Excuse me, okay if I have candy? We obtained candy, not caring for yours. You took candy because it had to be there for a guest. For a guest. And I do that, so. Want the candy, but no one questioned it being okay, so you give it. Candy was tasty, but didn't feel like having it then. Didn't want any either. Any of it. It was the worst type of candy. You didn't want any of it. Are we all professionals to a degree? Give up. Kept walking behind your mama. James Granny showed the way down a hall and through a big opening in the wall. Past that was the... Or not. When Granny crossed the rock, also flowered out on a smooth green chair. What? What? Granny crossed the rock that was all flowered and sat there. She didn't do that. This is the drawing room. I come here and sit on my throne and entertained our guests. You can take a seat, but do be careful. These are antique. Derek just hovered around the table. Hearing adults talk was one thing, but sitting down and doing nothing was asking far too much. Sat on the couch very carefully. You took a seat on the chair. Sit on the couch. You quietly climbed onto the other chair. Didn't want to even try sitting entertaining that. It was too much pressure. You didn't want to sit down. You'd rather keep looking around. Then where's all your pencils and paper for drawing, you joked. Then where are the drawing, like paper and pencils? You didn't want to sit down. You'd rather keep... Never can you not agree with Miss Mama on what was fun to do when visiting? Mama settled into the couch cushion, leaned against the armrests to get even cozier. No one had taken the warning about antiques very seriously. She didn't say anything over that, though. She did go on to say many other things. They at least talked about each other and their kid and grandkid. Jim's grandma was retired, you found out. Her husband was supposed to be too, she said with a strong opinion on that matter. And explained to your mama how he was constantly taking on temporary consulting jobs. And if not that, then he was being taken out for dinner or lunch or something else so people could pick his brain for advice. Casually, he couldn't be an actual employee. I had no idea why anyone would say something like picking brains. It sounded so gross. It was because of that you started paying attention to the words shared between friends more closely. Mama were still talking. It's as if these people think half the town will fall apart without him. Maybe it will. Not gonna lie, I thought I broke my heater. Wasn't turning on. Oh, he was in modeling. See, a very apt comparison then. They both laughed. The Mama's polite chuckle didn't compare to Granny's heart. Now it's true that there's always something or another going. What a growth isn't it? He used to be. And there's only so much he can do when he's age is the derelict buildings. The opening and slamming of a door followed her inspiration. For a second, everyone stopped. Did Granny's insult the house itself? No. Heavy steps came after the bang, and then a man he had never seen passed by the opening in the Opa! One hand gripping the armrest and the other swinging out towards Mama, missed off the fairly patting cushion. That's him right now. Granny erupted called out, as if she'd caught sight of a rare animal in the wild, and need the rest of the team to get over there while they had the chance. But that wasn't right. Yelling would only scare the peaceful animal away. Instead, maybe she was trying to catch a shooting star, or disappeared for good. But that one didn't work either, because Miss was able to make the meteor still. The woman stood suspended in space, silently staring through the wall hole into the drawing room. Tamrick's Opa was very gray, his full suit, his dull shoes, and short hair. What was mysterious were his eyes. They might have been gray too, or maybe you were tricked by all the other grayness, and they were actually blue. Pushed his head higher up on his forehead, large hands, slow and steady. Afternoon. Hearing his voice cemented an impression that had started to build in you. It was a low grumbling tone sounded the way his scratchy beard and bushy eyebrows must have felt. The sturdy older man, colorless and rough, was basically a stone statue that had come to life somehow, and was the absolute total opposite. Hi, Opa, this is Beanie and her mama. They're the people in their house. Neighbors. Well, thanks for that look, dude. Mr. Pullman mumbled briefly in response, and his eyes shifted away from the seating area. He wasn't talking about the news, but you got the impression he was thinking about it. Good day. He turned his body to match the new direction of his gaze. Fine, go hide in your cave. We'll be here if you decide to join us after all. Mrs. Bowman showed her surrender and quickly lowered herself into the chair again. Dinner will be ready in a couple hours. You can't miss that. Miss Bowman made his escape without looking back. You probably could miss that if you tried. Don't worry, I remember. Tamrick's grandpa had only said a few real words. Count them on one hand. Granny had to have said 100,000 times more than that. Still had more to go. But your mom was talking too, and you could tell she wasn't ready to be done. She had her listing face on, not her how soon can I get it to stop expression. Tapped your feet and pushed in place. You just stood around quietly. You caught from being stuck in the flowery air of the flowery house. Grim Lally, so bored of being here. He sniffed around wondering where the perfume smell came from. He yawned, getting sleepy from curious about else you'd find out. Mama, how much longer are you gonna be here? Mama, you can't keep talking forever, it's boring. Let's perk our ears, curious. Only for the first time in 8 looked at you instead of one of the 3 boomens. I hadn't forgotten you were there too. Oh, Beanie, are you fine staying? There's a couple things that's with Miss. Well, I can't. Bit of an impact as you had on the notes, Tamrick still did enough. Your grandpa left, she'd been staring at the window and doing that thing where she bumped her bag around. She used her hip instead of her butt this time. The way Granny daintily placed her hand in her lap, she really did look like a queen on her throne. I had to wonder, was she a kind queen or an evil queen? Why don't we let the 2 young friends play in the backyard? Us old folks stay here and talk. You wouldn't go far, would you, Tamrick? Beanie would come get you when it's time to leave. That be acceptable, Opal? Sure to have someone call Mama by her name, even if it was her name. It was Mama. That would be great. Excellent. Tamrick's bag stopped jingling. That was the only reason you heard her intent was. Neither of you had officially been given permission to leave before she zoomed out the room, and around the corner in the same direction her Opa had vanished to. I hadn't been the only one who wanted to get away. Don't run in the hall, please. Knowing well that the warning wasn't going to change anything, Miss sighed and read. Fine, no one listens to a word I say. Went after Tamrick, stepping carefully through your house. There wasn't anything in your way. The furniture and acts were all pushed against the wall. The only place that was clear clutter was the center of the hall. Past the living room, there were doors to unknown places on the wall that went to the kitchen. About Tamrick at the very end of the house, she yanked open a back door and bounded through. She left it wide open and a portal of light and gold inviting you through the dark. When you came to stand at the edge, you found Tamrick had waited for you to catch up at the bottom of the couple of uneven wooden steps. There were bent inward, like after being pressed down so many times, they'd sunk. It was your turn to leave a mark on that impression, one step then another, and the both of you were outside. Visible ribbon of perfume melted off your clothes and flew out in the fresh, free air. Like his backyard, Terrence's house had no fence around it. There was no way to tell when the yard stopped and the forest began. It was even more impossible to see where the forest ended. Might go on forever. All that was the same for the two places, though. In the key secret hideout, there was a fancy table with 2 chairs. It looked like it was there for Terrence's grandparents, and hanging from a thick branch was a rope strung like a tire swing. That part of the place had to be for their granddaughter. Woo! Yeah, it was. Terrence hollered a cry of freedom and skipped down the small stone path, never touching a blade of grass. He hefted the messenger bag over her shoulder, tucked it aside with a thunk, and flung herself through the hole of the tire. All you could see of Tamrick then were her little legs kicking up in the air and her arms spread out past the width of the tire, so she was floating. Twisted on its rope until it brought her face around. Hi, Beanie. Ran at her and went over. Tamrick's upright legs snapped down and she plunged the tips of her. It was supposed to stop the tire from doing, except she couldn't stop it at. Turning swing twisted her to the side. Tamrick held firm, jerking the tire to center it again. But none of that meant she couldn't keep her talking to you. Tamrick explained how it all came to be. Me and Opa got this just for me. They're too old to use the tire swing. Nice to be funny, see the guy. I wonder my backyard. Backyard is way better than Q's. Q's fur is cooler. You and Q have the best backyards. I love it. Yeah, that was so. Stared at her amazed, but not really impressed. He frowned. Your house probably avatars. You and Q have the best. Thanks. Grace puffed her up proudly. If she got too much bigger, she may not fit inside. But then she wiggled her body and dug her shoes in, even trying to get out. Let's play something. Wait, I can get in too. Wait, I can sit on top. Wait, I can push you. Can I try using the... Yes, you don't have to. I don't want to play anything. Before she could, you started to squish in with her. Before she could, you started to climb up on the tire. Before she could, you started to push the tire. Stepped back to get from her room. Just looked at her. Wait, I can push you. Oh, yeah. Firmly knocked. Got a running start and give it a grabbed the tire and walked back, pull it high. Then you dove out of the way. She screeched giddily when you let go, and her legs went up again. There's no reason to stop the swing from going somewhere. She just after the tire to keep pushing it. So you never stopped seeing her face no matter how it moved. Maybe you giggled as Tamrick swung back and forth. Then Tamrick wriggled around again, popped out the backside and landed across on her back. Tamrick began to move. Something was about to happen. Went off the path to go after her. Pressed her fists against his hips and spoke without turning. Tamrick's hair fluttered, animated with each word. Nodded while talking. That made it look like a free goat was the one saying it. You better start soon. It's gonna get dark. What? finding some good stuff. There's a lot of it out there, you know? She's trying to collect her big bag, looking it around her shoulder like normal. That's when she turned around and you were faced with the head of the sparkly lamp. Sparkling lamp side of her. Have you been to this place before? No. Not to this town. Here when I moved yesterday. But I'm from not far at all. That's pretty not nearby. Really, really far away. So where you used to live wasn't far at all. Like, so you used to live was pretty close. Where you used to live wasn't why you thought. Where you used to live was why you thought. The place I used to live wasn't far at all. This is all just probably based on this, except we don't actually have to input where, no. We actually were. Far away. Let's go that way. Really, that's amazing. We're the same again. I've been here a long time. But I've learned a lot already about outside and everything. All the forests in the world are different, and some places don't even have forests. Great, because there's mushrooms and rocks and acorns and good rocks and more. I can show you good spots to find things since you're newer to this forest than me. Wow, thanks. I don't want it. Never gonna find anything. I don't need your help. I get it myself. Alright, no thanks. Give her a thumbs up while you search. She shook her head out and simply looked at her blankly. That you and me could find everything cool on the whole. You're really great if you did help me. I don't know anything about that. You're smart and nice. But you and me could find everything cool on them. Let's get looking right now. Together, you and Tamarick began your treasure hunt at the edge of the forest. In bushes at the base of trees, under rocks across low. Nothing was left to examine. Tamarick found something worth saving. Placed it on the widest, flattest stone in the path. That was to keep her fingers free to do more. Discovered something with you placed it on the table and calls grew rapidly as the two of you dashed back and forth, staring near the house and a few feet away. Just like in class, Tamarick was focused and only ever stopped Snoop to rub her tattered sleeve and her eyelids, then kept going. Maybe dirt was getting in her eyes with how she kept getting to the ground, and maybe bits of twig too, so she wasn't afraid to shove her head into the leaves did get stuck in her hair, same as the first time you'd ever seen her. As time passed by, a shadow crept over the yard, and a spring sweater pulled over the body of the earth and got colder. Like Tamarick's own sweater, it had a few holes here and there. They're easier to see through. Tamarick refers to limit your search to those rare spotlights. It wouldn't be possible to keep doing it much longer. Glanced over at her. Tamarick crouched in the grass, encircled by darkness and trees. Shone under a stream of pale evening sun. A few strong rays hit her back, illusion of gold fairy wings. Seeing her there that way made so much more sense than when you saw her in school with her grandparents and house. That was what was natural to Tamarick. Being in nature, game was a kind of treat. When Tamarick officially announced the end of her hunt, the day was reaching. That was probably the only reason why she was. She didn't mind stopping either. Your treasure pile was already big and varied. All that was left to do was gather it up. It was easier to think than to do. Struggled to get each one of the small, mostly round valuables to your grasp. Tamarick couldn't scoop everything in her hands at one time. Pebbles and rose hips rolled out of her grasp and off the stepping stone. That was close enough for an impatient kid. Sarah rushed over to show you what she managed to find and carry. This is what I got. Dashed her hands full of bursting with wonderful things, even there. An acorn dropped to the ground. Here, take whatever you want. But that's yours, and I already have a lot of that. I know, you have your own for yourself. Take part in mine so you can always have things to give away. Or maybe you want to share what you got and keep what I give you. Something like that. You can share with your mama, or my Omi and Oppa, or anybody. That's the most fun part. Oh. That was the answer to a puzzle you hadn't realized you were confused by. Derek said she went out in the woods all the time. She must have found enough things to fill her grandparents' entire. Her granny would definitely not like that. She needed room for her own. That was never a problem because the collectioners. Out to everyone. Thanks, Derek. I think so too. Presents. You're wonderful. Kinda weird. I'll take some of yours, but only if you take some of mine too. Hey, but which I have? I want to share with you too. Still, I don't want any of yours. You can give that to someone else. Okay, I don't need it. Hold your arms to her. You don't want it. You brought your hands towards her too, ready to accept the gift. I want to share with you too. The exchange couldn't be done smooth. Neither of you had free hands to pass or pick up the presents. Derek settled for dumping part of her pile over the stuff already in your right hand. Then you shook some of your finds in your left hand into her palms. When the trade finished, she had almost exactly the same amount of goods. But it didn't. Didn't feel the same. You knew that in one hand you had the treasures where you found with your own effort. The other hands were gifts from your friend. Both were important for different reasons. Still gasping to this collection of forest, Derek marched off to the side, out of her backyard, and into yours. You went after her curiously. After her unsurely, you went after her frustrated. Where are you going? Wait for me. Derek, you can't go that far. Hey, that's my backyard. You can't go there. You watched her go worried. Watched her go unconcerned. Went after her curiously. I'm going to Q's house. He's surprised. Hiccups. Oh yeah. Well, that's probably okay. Alright. Ooh, I know exactly what you're gonna do. You keep going, but more nervous now. You kept going, more excited than before. You kept going, but regret that you were doing it. What? I don't want to go to Q's house. Can't go to Q's backyard without asking. Ooh, I know exactly what you're gonna do. Big giggle, and that made you doubly sure. Contentment crunched through the long grass and a million leaves. The sidewalk in front of the houses was a half circle. The back of them curved like that too. You got more around the bend, you could see the whole entire yard. It was empty and growing wild. There was no fort or tower swing, no table with chairs, not even one little lantern, the burned out bulb. Nice away from your house? You'd think you were in the heart of the woods. That was incredible. That was kind of cool. That made sense. That was annoying. That was incredible. The backyard was the forest itself. At the other end of the field, Q's fort could be seen towering in the distance. It encouraged Derek to shuffle ahead faster. Quicker steps jiggled her hands. That caused a few more pieces of her collection to rain down around her. It all came from the outside anyway. That wasn't littering. That structure wasn't only a sign you were almost there. It was her destination. Derek went straight to the hideout. She arranged the entire collection in a new pile at the base of the cliff. Derek looked around. Derek poked through the benching up an acorn there and a rosehip there, tucking each into her overall pockets without taking her eyes off her work. She took a second to be sure, but she was gathering the things you'd given her. She had good memory if she could remember what those looked like, though. Probably what's happening was guess what came from you by choosing in and herself. When her hands were free, she pressed them together, her job was done. Let Q part of the treasures you found. Let Q all the treasures you found. Let Q all the treasures you found, the ones Derek shared. Let Q part of the treasures you found, the ones Derek shared. Let Q part of the treasures. The presents you left for Q were carefully added each one to the group, making the collection seem grander. What was left got stuffed into your bag for safekeeping. Give me one moment. I forgot I was still muted on my actual mic. It is a beanie thing to do. You know, I think okay. I don't think I'll actually do the second part of the game, the demo here. I kind of want to actively like go past this. I want to be a surprise. The actual game. If the actual update is for the next part, I will gladly continue on. I will save this, but yeah, I think I'm not gonna touch that second part. Does that sound okay? Taking hiccups. Taking hiccups. Thanks for the trying. Yeah. Supposed get stuffed into your bag for safekeeping. There is nothing left to do then, and that's when Tamarick spoke for the first time since you've gone to Q's yard. Let's go. Q's gonna be home before dinner. He could catch us. Or his parents might see us. I've never talked to them. Who knows what they do? Girls angled over you, and you nodded. Right. You fled the scene of the crime. Or was it a crime if you did things instead of taking their stuff? Didn't matter. You were gonna find out. Stevie went around the bend and kicking up a whirlwind of leaves behind you. Not you or her looked back. Cameron got past the stone pathway like it was the finish line to a race. Crumpled into and the giggles turned into achy yips. She landed all the way down. Ow, ow, I fell on the rocks in my pocket. Oh. Step some more and out and more too, each one taking its fair turn. Are you okay? Eric rolled off her side to settle on her tummy, pushed her big cheeks against her little fist, and she kicked her feet in the air. Her boots flopped around her feet. She looked up at you, her smile puffed at the sides like it did a lot. That... It was an invitation to join her below. You did. Sitting carefully on the lawn and You cleaned up the trash, and now he's gonna get a surprise from the forest thanks to us. Even though the two of you were on the ground, your moods were as high as the sky. It was so cool and weird that you were playing in the friend's backyard. When did that happen? How did it happen? You moved into this town, Tarek sprung out at you, and you'd pretty much been together since. Uh, Even your brains had gotten insane because Tarek started talking about the same thing. Meaning, out of all the friends I have here, you're the best one. It still surprised you that she said that. You heard it before a long time ago when you first came to our house. If she was gonna say it again, you figured it would have happened way before. Wanted to do it then. She kept going. You came to the exact same neighborhood, almost at the same time, and are the same age. Both girls. We like the same colors. You have fun outside, and I do too. I've never ever met a kid who was just like me. That's important. That's serious. Derek had started shouting, then sucked in the loudness with a breath. What came out next was low. You had to really listen to know. You and me are gonna be friends forever. Those words were something more than a regular promise, more than a pinky promise, too. It's a swear. Not the bad kind of swear, though. You're my best friend, too. Best friends forever. It made you way too nervous to think of her that way. That was nice of Tamrick. Tamrick, you're very important friends. It was great. Yeah, and cute, too. He's also the best. He was my friend forever, too. Thanks, Tamrick. You're really nice. I hope so. Really nice. She was right. It was very important. Proud your head joyfully. You thought so, too. You're the same again. You weren't sure about going that far, but it was nice she liked you. You didn't know what to say or even... Best friends forever. Her dark red eyes... Oh look, status change, Tamrick. Friends. Best friends. Her dark red eyes were two grand apples hanging in a bushy tree of golden leaves. The secret trip to Q's house, each were complete, and at that point, you were perfectly sure Tamrick's final plan would stay right there until grass grew around her. It was that moment when a door creak opened and two smiling faces looked over the yard. Mama and Tamrick's grandma came to get you. It's hard to imagine they really spent the whole time sitting in the living room. Hi, Beanie. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we gotta get going. Hi, Beanie. I'm gonna stay outside. Sending a smile to Mama, you pushed yourself to your feet. Hi, Tamrick. Spoonman didn't even question Tamrick. Out in the grass. Left your granddaughter there and guided her guest in through the back door and up to the front. Why couldn't you have gone around the house instead of going through it? It was too late to tell them that because it was already done when you realized it. And stopped at the entryway, opening the door and fitting herself into a rare opening furniture to clear the path. Mama kept going past her nice and... On the porch, Mama halted and turned. The hostess had moved to stand in the doorway, so they were face to face. It was so good to meet you, too. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other often. Hey. Of course, goodbye and thanks for the talk. Miss Bowman nodded kindly and slowly pressed the door forward. Waited until she was doing it to the plank of wood. The door was shut, then she left her hand drop and talked to you. Busy day, huh? But that was good. The words went high in a sound of relief instead of low, which would have been real content. Instead of just something good happening, it was more like when you avoided something bad happening. That was still good, but in a different way than it nothing had been at stake. Now, to go. Thank you for the hydrate. Dad, before you left the Bowman porch, something made you stop in your tracks. There was a stranger strolling into the cul-de-sac, riding a bike along with them. It was almost as long as the person was tall. It had a totally different impact on your mama. It pulled her forward. Oh, it's Mr. Lin, like Mr. Cullen? That was Q's dad, probably. It could be an uncle or a way older sibling. Wore a pale green sporty jacket. And also nice black dress pants. They were super neat, but styled in a fun way that most grown-ups didn't have. That kind of introduction introduced him to you without needing to say a word. Mr. Lin, whoever he was a real professional, but not all strict about it. So wait, why did your mama already know that? How do you know him? Well, we've talked about him many times, and that's his father. Okay, you said it was. They didn't answer your real question. You racked your brain for the past conversation talking about, but nothing came up. I know Q, but I never heard anything from Dad. You just screwed up her face. She was as convinced that you knew as much. You were sure that you didn't. Wait, that's right. Suddenly she laughed and pressed a hand to her cheek. I never called him by his name to you. It's the real estate person who helped us find our house. Oh, memories of Mama pacing around in your old apartment getting excited whenever the real estate person would call the news. Played behind your eyes. That was Q's dad on the other line the whole time. I've seen his picture. He has a website, and we've chatted over the phone. Yesterday was the first time we met in person. That's who I was waiting for to get our keys. They arrived extra early, and you couldn't break away from some of their appointments until the evening. Glanced away from your own parent to Q's. It was easy to see how the two related. They both looked really pleased with themselves and the whole world, even when nothing was happening. You and Mr. Lin both liked bikes too. He turned back to Mama. She had a huge, encouraging smile on her face. Let's see him over there. It'd be hard to move the bike for him to come to us. Mama's attention was split between gesturing to Mr. Lin to stop, getting it to go with her. If her hands went up, the other went down. Hello. His dad remained in the moving bike and stood in place. Next, he waved. Hello, Miss Second. What a coincidence running into you out here. Good seeing you again. Nice to see you too. This is my daughter Beanie. So she's the one. Hi, Beanie. Real estate agent folded his arms and tilted his head down. The hair in front of his face pulled away, letting you see clearly. I just hit my mic. I'm sorry. It's a big moment. I can finally introduce myself after hearing so much about you. From Mama, of course, but Q had his own contributions. It feels like meeting a celebrity in person. Oh yeah, he told you himself. He talked to his parents about what happened yesterday. Lin knew things about you from two people. Hello, Mr. Lin. Hi. Hi, are you the real estate person? I am famous to town. Everyone is pleased to meet me. Not that big deal. What did Q tell you about me? Yes, eagerly. What did Q say? Yes, suspiciously. What told you about me? How come Q never told me his dad was our house buying person? Really nice, you giggled. Stop making fun of me. You wait till out. Wherever they said it, material, you silently stared. You ignored him completely, tired of all these people. Grabbed Mama's shirt for security. You gave him a friendly smile. You looked away shyly. Hello, Mr. Lin. You're so polite. Then Mr. Lin adjusted to discuss the topic of conversation. Welcome officially to the neighborhood. I wanted to come by, say you were slightly, but I wasn't sure when would be a good time. I hope to catch both of you. There's an unfamiliar car on the road. I'm guessing that's yours, but the house is dark. Neither of you look to be around. Yes, that's ours. I'm sorry you missed us. We were meeting the neighbors to the right. Never kindly invite Beanie and me to our home. Dorothea and we had a talk, and we very briefly met while Ernest passing by. Don't apologize. That's perfect. If you get a chance to visit the Moomon house, I'd say take it. And now you can come meet the other neighbors. Well, one other. You've already well acquainted with you, and we've said our hellos here. Do you have time to swing by? Personally, I'd love to herself to Mrs. Lin. She was really only answering for herself. Your mama asked for your thoughts before deciding on another great. Go see Q's mom. Okay. Thank you. We can stop by now. That's great. Give me just a moment. Mr. Lin patted the handle of the bike, bringing attention to it. That was something he needed to deal with. He coaxed the set of wheels to move with an expert hand. He got it across the road, up the curb, over the grass, and into Q's, well, also his entryway. Mama gradually made the same trip. She kept a lot of distance between her and the real estate man, not wanting to risk even a slim chance of getting in the way. Went along at Mama's pace, so you stayed together. Mr. Lin wrapped his knuckles on the white door of the red house. He faced himself during the wait by tapping the bike handle instead and humming a soft tune. Someone, though it was probably Q's mom, opened it halfway to attend to a guest. The door was thrown open all the way the second person realized who was there. Oh, honey. Hong, did you lose your key? The unapologetic laugh, Mr. Lin stretched past the bike's front wheel to greet his wife by kissing her. No, I want you to come over. Figure this would be the quickest way. Our new neighbors are here. Mrs. Lin peered further on, and there were the neighbors, you and Mama. Still staring ahead, Mrs. Lin stepped forward just in time to book her husband. They had moved to get into the front area of the porch. Mrs. Lin gasped, and the bike shuddered a metallic cry. Miss Lin hastily grabbed the seat cushion to steady it, leaned to the right for a next attempt to pass, and so did Mr. Mr. Lin settled on pressing his back to the wall by the door while holding up the bike against himself. Miss Lin finally managed to shuffle by and reach the sidewalk, but not before muttering bashfully, "Sorry, sweetheart. It's no trouble, go on." Miss Lin let out a breath to recompose her normal self after the unintentional dance. Their husband and her husband's bike. Why are you giving me that look for, Peaches? Need some kisses? Her clothes were light blue. Her hair was blue too. Way darker though. Whenever she lived her likes to walk, her dress moved like flower petals in it. There was something so peaceful about it, even her voice drifted along gently. I'm Mr. Elin. If you're the new neighbors, you must be Miss Opal and Beanie second. Is that true? Only to Peach's voice. Very sorry, only. Yes, precisely. I'll reach forward, offering a shake. Sling grasped my mom's hand with one of her own and covered the top of it with her other hand. They didn't exactly shake. Really, they squeezed each other for a second. They were hugging, but with hands. After Miss Lin carefully unwrapped her finger, Mama. Carefully unwrapped her finger, Mama raised her gaze drifted downwards. Miss Lin curled into a blueberry ball, bringing her chin to her knee. The edge of her spotless dress brushed her eyes, but it brought her to eye level with you. Hi. Held up her hand for you to take too. Never would have guessed that was going to happen. Most adults didn't act like you were a grown-up. That kids would be treated the same way as grown-ups was. You happily shook it, you grabbed her hand and wiggled your arm like a worm. You held onto her hand, you waved at her instead, you clasped her hand, side five. Turned your face away to nurse do it. Hold your arms hard and meeting people. Used your hands to cover your face. It was too much tension. Stepped away. Happily shook. She didn't hold you in place and moved up and down with your motion. Nice to meet you, Bean. Then she pushed off the ground and stand perfectly straight in one fluid motion. You've seen how much Q and his dad were like because of the matching colors. The same thing as Mom, except you needed a little imagination to make it connect. Miss Lin put on super ultra fast forward. It looked a lot like how Q treated people. But now you've seen everybody who lived on the street, plus some extras. All the other kids were about your age, 2 or 3 years older. For the adults, it was a lot trickier to put together except for Tamarik's grandparents. They were absolutely. When it came to non-grandparent grown-ups, 2 of them could be 1 year apart or have a 10-year difference. Way to tap. 10 years was the length of your entire life. It was impossible to imagine having that much time being an adult. Your best conclusion was that Miss Murray probably be the youngest grown-up person. Your mama and Q's parents somewhere in the middle. Wondered how your mama felt finding out there were 2 people her age. Maybe in the neighborhood. Was that a big deal to adults too? Was you gonna make friends with them like you and Tamarik? Someone hurried to be friends with people who had been around as long as Granny and Miss. Or did that not work? Grandparents were double adults, super adults. Mama kind of acted like they were regular grown-ups, as respectful to them as kids had to. So one way or another, Mama was gonna have to make a life in Golden Grove along with these two. I'm sorry to be the last one of my family who came to meet you in person. Don't worry about that. Hong had a huge advantage, all things considered. Mama quirked her lips good-humoredly. Though Q also beat you to it, and that was a close race. Oh, a joke! A teasing one even. Mama made an attempt at being less professional and polite. You watched on as this adult interaction, wondering how it turned out. Seemed to go pretty well, because Miss Lynn laughed. Was very excited. There's never been another child next door until now. You have come at the same time? Well, I hope Beanie and I lived up to expectations. I like to make a good impression on the magnet. It's a huge word. I can't say it apparently.
Self-voicing enabled. Mama, well,
We get to
I
hear
hope
what this
Beanie
thing
and I
says.
have lived up to expectations. I'd like to make a good impression on the magnanimous Lynn. Self-voicing disabled.
There you go. The other Mr. Lin came over and joined the conversation, showing off his now free hands with a shrug. He had gotten the bulky bike into the porch jail behind the mailbox so he could stop pulling it around for a second. He has been out with friends since school ended, so we've yet to hear about what happened when he popped by your house in the morning. I'm certain the new neighbor, Miss Opal II, will get a glowing report over dinner. Thank you. I'm usually the one getting performance review. Who knew it was so nerve-wracking to be on the receiving end? Oh yes, terrifying. That's the type of humor your mama liked, dealing with people. Full job. He could play pretend that it was something challenging. He didn't know Key's mom well enough to be sure if it was also a joke or if she meant it seriously. Had she guessed anyway, she's not actually scared of the idea. Plus, Mr. Lin went for an earnest answer instead of messing around. He had to know best. Ladies have nothing to fear. No one's going to give you a failing mark, trust me. I can already report that my son's entirely stuck on your daughter.
Mama, now that is wonderful.
I did mean it.
Self-voicing disabled.
Stop voicing, stop. I am not using that word in a sentence. Fuck that word. Now that is wonderful news because my beanie is over the moon about your boy. That was right, Q and you are already great friends. Final neighbor you met spoke sweetly on behalf of the entire family. We'll have to give them plenty of time to nurture their friendship. Miss Lynn slipped her arm around Mr. Lynn's. They're unified physically and legally. In this opinion, glad we're all on the same side here. His parents were as cool as he was. Now I need to apologize myself for cutting the introduction so short. We had to get home. There's more unpacking to do before the day's over. I absolutely do want to speak more another time, though. Oh, that's fine. Yes, I understand completely. Imagine it's a big job, getting a new house in order always is, when it hasn't been left to collect dust. A bit likely. It looks like as if most of the furniture already there will be worth keeping after good scrubbing and polishing. Is that so? I thought it'd be the case. It was quite a perk of the property. Seems they had good advice picking a location. That was said with a slight smile and a side eye to her husband. Lynn had a streak of charm too. Thanks, honey. Mr. Lynn put a hand on the back of his head and one on the corner of his glasses before leaning back to laugh. He wanted to make sure nothing fell off, he guessed. But if you need help with any heavy lifting, you're welcome to let me know. I'll call you. She was a gymnast in college and can do more pull-ups than me. Only Miss Lynn. Dark eyes went saucer wide. Couldn't get them back to normal size, so Miss Lynn slammed them shut and said, "There wasn't a way to get the rosiness off her cheeks." That was the biggest reaction you see from Key's mom so far. She was the one who started the praising. Long, please, we both help if it's needed. Her mama got a chuckle out of the exchange too. There you have it, the Lyns are at your service. Thank you for the offer. Thank you for coming, Opal and Beanie. You're both welcome over any time. Goodbye. Good evening. Bye, Mr. and Mrs. Lynn. With a come-along gesture angled your way, Mama turned to leave. If you follow the sidewalk around to the center of the street. From there, you stared up at the grand old building you were allowed to live in. It was yours and Mama's. After walking down the road into town, attending the school, and visiting with the neighbors, this place was where you were returning to at the end of a long day. Thought struck your heart as much as your brain. You were going to be seeing that view for a long time. No matter how unfamiliar each sight found in person in Golden Grove was, and one day it was going to be normal. That was exciting to picture. You could be like you, someone who knew the ins and outs of everything. Someone who actually had memories and bonds with the place they lived in. As if the world or your mama was trying to prove this would be a regular thing for you. Mama didn't pause breathlessly at the welcome mat like she had the day before. Just took out the same black spiral keychain loop she'd always used and picked one of the keys off to unlock the door. Mama put that house key on the coil, guess so. And she went in, not doubting that she'd do the same. You did. She hit the lights. For all your musing about normalness and regularity, when you glanced around the living room, it was a bit too familiar. You've been at school for hours, seen and done so much while your mama was supposed to be here unpacking. So why did it look exactly the same? Almost exactly. The stuff you slept on had been put away. So there was the same amount of boxes piled unevenly in a corner, the same sheets draped over the furniture. Just you wiped down the night before was the only hint that you hadn't been transported back in time when you first saw the place. You must have had other important things to do. That was weird. Oh well, Mama, you didn't do any unpacking. Laughed lightheartedly. Mama, you didn't unpack, he scolded. How come our stuff is still packed? He asked curiously. Okay, Mama, what were you doing this whole time? Question seriously. What are we gonna do? Let's get started. Wow, Mama, you're really slow at this. Oh, let's get started. Yes, let's, but you know something before we do. Candace carried her leading words. It was the living room I spent the afternoon making livable, and since it wasn't that, guess what it is? The kitchen? The bathroom? Your room? My room? Tell me, you cheered. Just say what it is. Puffed. Point towards the hall to the kitchen. Point towards the hall to the bathroom. Point towards her. Was it Mama's room? You point towards yourself. Was it your room? Shrugged at a loss. My room. That's right. Your new room is ready for you. It's clean and dust-free, and I've already filled in the shelves. All you need to do is put out your bedding, make sure I didn't miss any of your things, and enjoy. Your room was there and waiting for you? Mama was the best. The amazement was clear in your face. Your mouth was wide open. Made your mama grin. Go check it out. I'll be in my own new room. Found a couple hours work into dressing that up, but it's not quite ready. Mama's pair of cranberry eyes wandered around, taking the current state of the... Ideally, neither of us will have to sleep in the living room tonight. Okay, Mama. You and Mama kept walking together up the stairs in the hall. Paths parted ways. One closest to the stairs. Guessing this is it? The main bedroom was the farthest one away. There. From between those remained a mystery. Never lived in a house with extra space before. The apartments from before barely fit the two. Anything was possible now. Grasping the cool metal handle, you pressed down the knob, twisted until it was straight to the floor, and it was kind of stuck. You had to give the door a real push to get it free. Once it had gone past the initial jam, it moved with ease. So you watched the tall door swing open and then stepped in. Hello, you're about to enter the room decorating. Start of every step, except for step 4, you'll be able to add personal touches to your bedroom. The older you get, the more control you have over your space. In step 1, you can choose between different beddings and some smaller possessions like toys and decorations. Furniture overall arrangement, wallpaper, and so on can't be altered in this step. To choose between options, select one of the 4 areas, then choose the elements you want for that area. After that, go back and you can choose a different area to customize for and the decorating section. We hope you'll enjoy settling in and making the space your own. Books! Look at that! They had books up. Bracelet. Glowing stars. Trunk. All the stuffies, all the stuffies, all the stuffies. Ooh. We could have the canopy. Let's go. That. That voice saying step away from the stuffies. I don't know which one I would like. I think I like this blue. Okay, I think I did everything. Yeah. Look at all the stuffies! And done. My room was something any kid would be proud of. Wonderful. You're so happy, it almost made me sad. That would do. You did the best you could with what you had. Well, it was great. The place had your favorite things that made it good no matter what. Alright, maybe it'd grow on you. Maybe you'd hate it in a few days. It's completely terrible. The place had your favorite things, and that made it good no matter what. It had taken until nighttime to get your things just how you wanted them. Stepped into a corner to... The floor space of the room was bigger than your last one. The thing was a lot lower, though. It sloped with the roof of the house. And the windows were angled towards the treetops and sky. Daddy had something really special there. And then there was a knock and a voice. The tilting roof caught the sounds and directed them straight down into your... Can you come in? Yes. The handle jiggled and jerked. The door was resistant to Mama opening it, too. Cleared out, though, and let herself in. Oh, dear. Not so discreetly. praised your efforts at decorating. Watched her just as closely, eager for someone to appreciate your room. Good. Looks great in here. You did a good job in packing. Exactly, it was a great room. I pretty much finished myself, but it's late. Let's take a break from that and chat. Been a long day all around and back and forth. Mama? Okay, here it goes. We're still not entirely done, even now. Grandma pulled her folded arms in even more and her mouth pinched too. She talked about how things will be once I'm back at work. It won't be able to drop you off or pick you up from school most days. I'm sorry. It does seem common for kids in this town to walk or ride bikes to class at least. You had a bike. You had a bike with training wheels. You had a skateboard, not a bike. You had a scooter instead of a bike. You had roller skates. You weren't a bike rider. You didn't have anything you could ride. You had a bike. That was another thing Mama made extra got moved to the house, along with your backpack. She also known it would come in handy. It'd be up to you if you'd rather go on foot or use your bike. You got to see the way there. And you shouldn't ever be the only one on the path. You weren't scared to do stuff without her, but you liked spending time with Mama. It would have been fun to go together at least sometimes. Well, she had to do her job. You just have different kinds of fun. Something the inevitable, you nodded. Alright, that's one matter attended to. Here's part 2. What to do after you make it back from school. You'll be done with your class a good few hours before I'm off the clock. Uma and I were talking while you were outside with Tim. She offered to keep an eye on you when I'm away. She's retired and says it'd be no trouble. That can mean you can go to Tamarack's house for the afternoon, or it could be Miss Bowman popping in every now and then to check on you if you're playing at home or outside. Tamarack's already your friend, so it's not as if she'd mind you being around regularly. Emma held up one finger and kept up the explanation. Of course, that's not the only choice. We've got options. Well, I didn't get a chance to officially ask. I'd bet the Limbs would be equally fine if you wanted to hang out at their place. They're good people. I know Mr. Lim decently well at this point. Plus, their son would certainly extend an invitation to visit whenever you wanted. Socially, and even I can see you're in with them. I can also look into the lessons and extracurriculars being offered in town. You could do that some days instead of staying in the neighborhood. Maybe you want to take up an instrument and learn how to dance. And I'd be able to come get you from there when it was done. The hand finally came down. That must have been all the possibilities she could think of. I like those ideas. Okay. It sounds fun to me. Sure, I could do stuff without you. After school just got way more exciting guarantee yourself. There were worse things you concluded. Your days just got way more difficult, you grimaced inwardly. Dear Mama, I didn't think you'd be around anyway, he murmured. That's way better than having nothing to do like before. Why do I need anybody to look after me? I'm in 5th grade now. That's way better than having nothing to do like before. Looks like I don't need to worry. Mama stopped squeezing herself a smile. Still, there's no reason to plan out the rest of our lives tonight. The two of us will figure it out. That was something you heard a lot. No matter what you went through, your mama never stopped believing you and her would manage. For a moment, she gazed past you at nothing in particular. Sometimes it felt strange, remembering how you were actually there. And all the stuff you had to keep up with stopped and you could just think. Maybe your mama felt that too. Blinked and her eyes fell back on you. Mama smiled. But our neighbors are certainly nice. Huh, all 6 of them. We had a lot of luck there. Lucky didn't even describe the incredibleness of what moving here brought. No words were needed for her to understand your thoughts on it. Your face said enough. It's Q then, the boy you want to marry? Yes, that's right. Duh, Mama, who else would it be? Duh, Mama, there aren't any other kids that could be. How did you know? You asked? Maybe. You giggled. I don't know. Maybe you refused to admit the truth. Very shifted in place. You frowned, refusing to reveal that information. No, you lied, suddenly bashful about it. That's right. That made your mama laugh. Not enough. You told a cool joke, kind of. I was simply so delighted those feelings had to come out. You have a good eye for these things. I'm glad I can meet him. Grandmama stuck her hands over her jeans. Now, if you don't mind me changing the subject to an entirely different matter, let me just say it's dinner time. As a reward for how much we've done, and besides the loaf of bread is out at this point, that's because even if it wasn't, I do not want another sandwich. I'm taking the 2 of us out. I've heard that the local diner is a gem. Thank you, Mama. Yes, woohoo! I hate boring diner food. I don't want to go there, you whine. Phew, I never want another sandwich again. Alright, you can draw and leave. After you nodded your head smiling, you gave 2 thumbs up. Didn't really care that much, it was fine. Your shoulders slumped and you pouted your lips, that sounded bad. Brown, you had to go someplace you never been again. You stomped your foot and complained. You, I never want another sandwich again. Then there's nothing else to discuss, food it is. Wait. You had a huge realization. What about Q? What about Tamarack? What about Tamarack and Q? Agreed, you were definitely hungry. Tamarack and Q. I want your friends to go with you. If your friends could go with you, that'd be great, and you wouldn't be stuck alone with Mama. They've been nice to you. Maybe this was a chance to do something back. I kind of owe them after everything that had happened. More the merrier, that's what you thought. They've been nice to you, maybe this was a chance to do something back. And the one day you've known them, Tamara and Q had done multiple things. Tarek sent you a paper airplane, Q wrote you a new note, he also walked you to school, and then Tamara went with you after class. Had you visit her house, and other stuff too. You only just got to this town. It was hard to do anything when you didn't know anything, and almost everything you had was sealed away in a cardboard box. But having somebody take you out to dinner was an even bigger deal than all that. How many kids could do it? Not many. It costs money. So Q went over to Darren's house, didn't he? But Miss Murray said he'd have to be home by dinner time. I was right. He swallowed those words hard. Hopefully you weren't going to be bothering him for nothing. He grasped Mama's cotton cardigan. It was soft and familiar as her old baby blanket. He told her gently, pointed the chin downwards. He had her attention. Yes, Beanie? Can Tamara and Q come with us? I was wondering what about Tamara and Q? Can they go? Who said Tamara and Q go to the diner too? Not gonna go with you if Tamara and Q can come. We should invite Tamara and Q. Don't you think? I'm the genius yet. Tamara and Q could come for dinner. Let's go that way. Second one. Oh, interesting. I can't guarantee that both of them will be able to get to do this on such short notice. However, I can at least am not saying no. I at least am not saying no. You see what I can do. That answer was both a relief and a new source of uncertainty. It was easy to get your mama to listen. Up next would be the real test. Mama hunched over to reach around herself. It was never without her chunky silver cell phone that had lived in her back pocket for years. The sheen of the paint had nearly worn away, and one corner of the screen had a snowflake-shaped crack. But it only needed to work, according to Mama anyway. Mama managed to get the too-thick phone out of her too-thin pocket. She bounced it in the palm of her hand comfortably. With that, nothing could stop her, hopefully. One of the other things that happened while you were outside with Tamara is that I got Miss Bowman's and cell numbers. I'm nothing if not productive. I can call her up right now. After a few quick taps, she brought the phone to her ear and waited. And she kept waiting, and so did you. Times did it ring? Many times were left until it hung up. How long did it take to answer her phone? Finally, there was a sign of something. Mama's lips put into a polite smile, and her eyes widened eagerly. Biggest hint, though, was that she started talking to Cameron's grandmother. Hello, Miss Bowman. I'm sorry for bothering you at this hour. I hope I'm not intruding anything. Mama quieted down again. She was listening attentively. Nothing to do but wait. It was the ringing phone all over. If only you could hear what was happening, too. Mama thought it was a bad manners to share phone conversation unless the person was already expecting that. Privacy was priceless. Especially when breaches of trust could get a company sued. Miss Bowman must have had a lot to say in the conversation. She didn't know what was going to happen. Mama stayed totally silent for a while. A couple times her mouth began to open like she was just about to say something, but then she had to snap it back up and listen some more. On her third attempt to speak, Mama succeeded in getting the words out. Since you haven't settled down for the night, I want to ask if Tamara might be able to come over for dinner. You and I are going to try out the local diner. Ah. Mama's face had twisted into a wince. Even you caught how lovely Granny explained. You wanted to know what was being said, but not like that. The shout wasn't enough to scare her off your mama. She regained her voice and pressed on. Yes, that's the one. Familiar with it, then. There's nodding and humming. And for another minute or something like that. Until, thank you, Bean and I are grateful for that. On saying your name, Mom made eye contact and wordlessly understanding passed between the two of you. Mission accomplished. We'll come by and get her in just a few minutes. Thank you again. Bye. Bye. I will be right back. Mama jumped her. Eric can join. Fan of the diner herself. Thought it'd be a lovely. Cover the first. Oh, thanks, Mom. That's one down. Likely I've had Mr. quite a while now. Shouldn't be surprised by a call from me. Check if he's free. Mama clicked along the phone to find the next contact. Then it went straight to the side of her head again. Talking to you and her. Fast runs. Seconds. Oh, hello, Mr. Lin. Good evening to you. I'm sorry if this is a bad time. No, everything's completely fine. Rapid conversation came to a pause. Her lips pressed together in silence. It didn't last long. She was smiling again less time than it took to tie your shoes, if you're good at doing that. That's wonderful. Oh, but the reason I called is that we were curious if you might be able to join us for dinner. Taking Beanie and Tamrick out to a local diner, it'd be my treat. Another tiny pause happened, and her grin grew more over the space of it. She even laughed at something. Yes, I can imagine. Her heir appearance chuckled a couple of times. At least he assumed Mr. Lin was in a good mood. He'd be worried Mama was beat by him being mad, and then the call wrapped up. Thank you. Alright, goodbye. With a sense of finality, your mom stuck her phone into its home. 2 for 2. Mr. and Miss Lin are apparently entirely used to this kind of requests. He had joked that whenever he gets a call on his own phone, there's at least a 50% chance it's actually for Q. That why he finished the conversation so maybe that had to do with his job. Either Dad got stuff done, aside from Mr. Lin having to lobby that many. But it works out for us. That means Q can come along. A dinner with your mama and you. It happened basically every single day of your life. Dinner at a diner you never been to, or it didn't happen much. But a diner with Tamrick Q had never happened before. Thank you for asking, Mama. Of course. Mama smiled as he shouldn't keep them waiting. Put on your earmuffs and jackets. I'll get my scarf. It'll be chilly out there and I'm starved. Think for you. Your stomach was a huge, empty pit. Didn't eat soon, it might suck you in. You did everything you could of doing before leaving as fast as you could do. Then you were braving the unknown in search of and your friends. Oh, you were outside at night. That was not the same as walking around during the daytime. Once huge street lamps glowed like torches. Formerly orange trees turned on a natural purple. The turmeric expanse of the cul-de-sac could easily be perfectly still. Endlessly deep lake. You tripped, you could fall in and disappear forever. It kind of sounded like the start of a story. Ideas of that, of what might happen on such a adventure, already filling your head. But Mama wouldn't let you play in the dark. Check out the daydream. Night dream? Or would a night dream be a normal dream? Either way, you focus on not being left behind. You and your mom passed through the gate around your yard, then approached the rectangular gray house for the second time that day. In the limited light, a pop of sparkle color was already there. She left you to wait outside with her scarf and bag in tow. Made eye contact across a grassy patch between your home and hers. Beanie! Flinging her hands in the air, she zoomed out from the porch to meet you. Tamrick went so fast, her floppy boots trying to slide off her feet. Tamrick! You ran to meet her partway. You ran over and barreled into a hug. You held your arms open for her. Hi, Tamrick. Go, go, go! Get away inside, it's cold. Why are you running? Well, there she was. Not how wild she was being already. You applauded her speed. Hey, yeah, this is gonna be amazing. You waved at the rapidly nearing girl. Slow down, you're gonna fall over. You ran to meet her partway. Tamrick! Mama trailed behind you. Betty had a noise that was part laugh and part huff. I hadn't realized how urgent this reunion was. It is. Hi, Beanie, and your mama. Thank you for letting me come. You're very welcome, Tamrick. We're happy to have you join us. You're gonna get cute, too. Yeah, we've all gotta go. Now, trio, you strode down the sidewalk until you went completely around to the opposite side of the curve. Mama tapped the doorbell a single time. The sound of it was speedy ding-dong. Then it was done. Even the Lynn's house got straight to the point. They huddled on the dark porch for less than a minute. One who answered wasn't Miss Lynn. It wasn't either of the adults. It was Q himself. Standing in the open doorway, he was all lit up from behind. That cast harsh shadows over his feet. Tom's face was still amazingly bright on its own like magic. Hey, I haven't seen you two in forever. We missed the whole best part of the day. Hi, Q. Hey, so great we can go to the diner. Well, I'm here now. Your fault you were gone, you snickered at him. Yeah, way too long. We did a lot of cool stuff without you. I wish you hadn't gone before. Wait till you held in place, freshly stared at his red sneakers. He hugged him with both arms. Put an arm over his shoulder. You lifted your hand for a high five. Hi. Hey, it's so great that we can go to the diner. His hand sat on his hips as he leveled an amused glance at you. Oh yeah, it is. I'm curious about what each thing does. Oh, shove it in place. Gaze of Tyson do. Okay. Oh, it takes us all the way back here. Okay. We hug him. No lie, I spelled don't know why. And it's making me want pizza. I have stuff to oh, let's hug him. And he had on tight. Oh. Tight fabric is jacket crinkled resistantly against your squeeze. Look and see your pocketbook, your stomach. Burns circled his face, scratched her nose. What you noticed almost was all those layers and snacks. Good. Pat your back with gentle rhythmic while resting a cheek against your head. They're both quite comfortable there. Guess what I say your mama too. Thank you for coming on short notice. That's nothing. I got lots of time. I can come over whenever. Good to know. And so everybody invited to dinner was there. Together, you went to the center of the street again. Mama unlocked. Derek asked for the middle again, and she got it. You stretched head over that one. It was kind of mysterious without her explanation. Derek only wanted a window. School not being stuck in the middle himself, though. Rapidly, the car rolled into motion. Tree after street, post after tree flew past. Didn't see anything else. Personally, Mama also wasn't sure what she was looking at. She had trouble figuring out exactly where the local diner was. Radio had to stay out. This required the utmost focus. That didn't mean it was a silent drive. It was loud, actually. Sitting tall at the edge of his seat and just to Riley, Q offered his best advice on which road to take and when. At the same time, Tamrick was bouncing her, shouting on stuff she remembered seeing on the way to the diner the first time she'd been there. Neither of them could give directions very well. It was wrong or entirely impossible to understand unless you were within their own heads. Mama was patient, though. She never gave up. In the end, on the outskirts of Golden Grove, he found the place. Tears, foot stumps, and a hand claps filled the car when Q and Tamrick spotted a massive lit-up sign saying, "The dinner table." It had to be what you were looking for. Dinner was the name. Mama noticed that, too. She wound the steering wheel to turn into the parking lot, a wire smile playing on her face. The dinner table. The dinner table, not the diner table? Someone didn't get an A on their spelling test. I like it, Mama. It's a joke, you giggled. Come on, Mama. It's obviously supposed to be a joke, you said, unimpressed. What a dumb name. It's great. Name is so stupid, you said flatly. But they got an F, you joked along through. The name had you laughing. Mama Salinas had you laughing. It's the perfect name for a dinner. Yep, that's what's wrong. They forgot an N. You joined the cheer. You started wide-eyed. That was it. Dropped your head against the seat and groaned. Gripped your seatbelt tight. That was it. Mama, it's a joke, you giggled. Really? Yes. Oh, wow. It's always been named that. That doesn't mean it was an accident originally. It's memorable, at least. The car came to a stop under the glow of the building. There were no lamps in the parking lot, but that only made the area more noticeable. Light poured from front windows larger than you were. It was a beacon of hospitality deep in the forest, high on the mountain. After a quick head count, all four of you went out. Mama led the way to the entrance. She held the door open and swept out her other hand and stayed after you. Autumn nights in Golden Grove had such a bite. Felt comfortable shivering going from outside of the diner. Outside. It was warm and toasty there. It even smelled warm. The inviting scent of hot food hit you first. The whiff of smoke underneath. You can picture the grill with charred steaks and hamburgers sizzling. There was coffee too, which somehow always smelled burnt, even though it was mostly liquid. Maybe that was why coffee was so dark. Someone found a way to overcook water, and everybody decided to drink it, including your mama. Never had a morning without it. Rubbing your stiff hands up and down your goosebumps cover arm, you glanced around more. Who else decided to be there at the dinner table on a diner? I could speak. On a chilly Monday. Man in a trucker hat, grabbing a knife into a thick cut of ham. 3 sweater-clad women, each with a mug in hand, and some teenagers huddled in the back booth and splitting a stack of pancakes. Who those? Nobody. 10 times more people could fit. Maybe 20 times. But you had a clear view of the room. Full of different colors. List off greens, orange, blues, yellowish ones, but all of them were dark or faded, so it didn't feel colorful. Kind of like if your classroom had grown up and gotten old and sleepy. Didn't mind. Nothing could always be new. Weird. Awesome. It was hideous in a cool way. That was no gem. It was a clump. It's exactly what you'd imagine Mama told you'd be going to the town's diner. How disappointing. You'd been right to want to have dinner here. Weren't sure about the place. The dark emptiness made it feel creepy. Awesome. Taylor Timrick had settled a little from her frenzy in the car. As thoroughly as it was the restaurant, you could only do it if you behaved. At least that was your guess. You knew Mama would want you to act appropriately. On your right, you stood nonchalant, slowly shifting his weight from one foot to another. There's nothing interesting to see there for a boy like him. Except for you, he kept smirking whenever he noticed you looking. Soon a tall lady with tall hair came over from the kitchen to the main counter. Said she was the hostess and would show you to the table. Tom negotiated for a booth instead. Plenty rope and after all. Agreed to those terms and grabbed some menus off. Thank you. Mama let the employee lead them from there. For her, the biggest treat was going out to eat. It wasn't food, it was that once at the restaurant, work was done. Ah, baby. No cooking or cleaning for a change. She didn't have a mama. Hey! Didn't have a mama or dad or grandparents around to do that for her. Letting strangers she had to pay to do it was the best she could get. Hostess took you further into the restaurant, past the sweater gals, but not as far back as the pancake pals. Put the pile of menus on the table, thanked you for stopping in, promised your server will be there to help soon. Walked away in a matter of seconds. Well, let's get comfortable. Me and Benny will sit together. That leaves the other one for you too. Okay. Just a second. Yeah, you and Mama could be right together, and you'd be able to look at Tamrick and Q really easily. Tamrick was the first to clamber into a bench. He went to the very end of it and dumped her bag onto the cushion. He took off his jacket for fitting himself beside her. Mom slid into the knitted red sleeve with multicolored geometric pattern across top. Then she patted the outer spot for you to take. He got into the booth next to her. Tamrick busied herself by investigating the area in front of her. She had the same precision of searching through the forest. She managed to discover a soup spoon and began fiddling with it. Girl. Who likes their butt scratched when eating? You weird cat. Leaning forward Key rested threaded hands on the tabletop. Leaned forward very slightly, a little bit like an interview. Was he going to be asking you questions? Or maybe he was preparing himself for your mama to evaluate his behavior. That was her job. But Key didn't know that. This is nice. She spoke quietly while pursuing her options. The dinner table had unwieldy menus, as long as her entire arm. Mama didn't bother holding it up, instead she flipped through the laminated pages with the menu lying flat. There's a lamp directly above your booth. It reflected blindly off the plastic, but in the glare you caught glimpses of colorful pictures dotted in between the text. Eggs and sausage, fresh toast toasted with powdered sugar, a basket of chicken strips, steak and mashed potatoes, a bright green salad, more. Diner food in its purest form. Mouth began to water already. Look, there's a kids section. That'd be a good place to check. Though, since special occasion, it is okay to get any meal, even the pricier ones. What? You're almost never allowed to do that. That goes for the two of you as well. Don't worry about anything. Get whatever food you prefer. You. Yay. Any food and treating other kids? Mama really was in a good mood. You get a big bonus for moving. You could only imagine. Not for long, because the person approached your... Hello, you. I'll be your waiter tonight. Thank you for coming. Great, hi. He had warm brown skin and warmer brown eyes. Hair was a coal black, kept it up in a neat ponytail. Heavy buckle-strapped apron with a checkered pattern hid his normal face, and a short beard covered much of his facial features. He didn't hide his welcoming smile. He had a generic notepad and pressed a pen to it, poised for taking notes. That made you think of Autumn right away. You only realized you started staring at him when his smile curled up. Probably got why you were looking without needing to say so. You're thinking of him, and he knew it. It was only fair. Q thought a lot about you, too. Your jerked past, and Q turned away from you just to say, "Hey." Oh, since when was he casual with adults he didn't know? Hey, Q was with your mama. The one-word greeting came as a shock. Only to you, though. Yusuf responded with in an even less expected way. Hey, this is not the usual company for you. That's right, things are changing around here. You'd forgotten for a second that Q knew everyone and everything, even the random waiter at the diner. Are they? Without in consideration for a second, that smile got special interest from him, a different kind. Instead of looking sharply, his expression opened up in wonder. How do you know Q, if I may ask? You may. Where's new neighbors? Mama said with the police tapped on the menu in front of her. But into Golden Grove just yesterday, actually. Immediately, Mama added clarification. She put her hand in the air between herself and you. Yesterday for me and her. She pointed to Tamrick on the opposite side. Your mom continued. But in a bit before us, she's not mine. Neither is Q, of course. I did give permission to take them out to dinner, however. All above board. Tamrick smooshed his silver spoon into her cheek. She couldn't eat it as best as she could with a utensil, pressing her cheek down. There's an immediate shift in man's attitude. He took the pen from paper to instead fold his broad arms. Talking to a server or someone behind the counter was really different than talking to them when they weren't working. That was because when a person was doing a job, everything they were meant to say was decided by a boss or a whole giant company. And all of a sudden it became like Mr. Yusuf the waiter had clocked out. Welcome to town. May I ask your names? Oh, sure. I'm Opal Second, this is my daughter Beanie. I'm Tamrick. I saw you before my only and Opa. Opa like your beard. Thought that might have been you. Give your Opa my thanks. His beard's nice. I am Mr. Kian. I also love a golden. That an introduction exactly the way Q would have wanted him to. Well, besides spelling it out. Mr. Kian Yusuf might have questioned about how you knew Q first, but you were wondering the same thing about him. I did a notepad in front of his chest, referring to being a waiter. Can I get you anything to drink? What? Just water is fine. Yeah, you could have said that for her. It didn't matter how big an occasion it was, paying for drinks at a restaurant was still going too far. Then let me rephrase. What I meant to say is, please get a drink. It'll be on the house. Oh no, you don't need to do that. I know, but I like to do it. I'm only filling in as a server tonight. I'm allowed to make those decisions, even when insisting on something. Yusuf had a gentle way of putting his words. He could have been the narrator of a storybook, no problem. We're all neighbors in town this small. You nodded along, even gave a thumbs up. They were in cahoots. Was there some kind of secret welcome committee in Golden Grove? And was everybody a part of it? What harm is there in being hospitable to those you'll be seeing often? If you want to return the favor, come back another day. Well, you make a good point, Yusuf. He was being honest. Your mama would have told him if he was saying nonsense. Only a reasonable argument could be tolerated, and Mama was practical, not a stickler. If you're sure, I'll have a cup. I'll have a cup of water and root beer, extra ice. I haven't had that in years, and I felt festive. Mama's newly chipper mood was contagious, and Yusuf gave a rumbly chuckle. It is a festive day. Imagine yourself earning your own new home. I got a scoop of ice cream to that. He boggled at Yusuf and his many sweet suggestions, though it was with a smile. There was no reason to go through the process of accepting a kind gesture again. Mama embraced it wholeheartedly. Root beer float it is. Root beer float. Repeated her words as he wrote them down, speaking even more softly than before. Well, your mama, a person never ordered anything more exciting than water with a slice of lemon for your entire life. Gonna get a root beer float? Having it confirmed that drinks would be free brought new life to Mr. Kulin. He to put Yusuf in a separate category from other adults. No bus behavior required. Gloves were completely off now, not just literally. Leaned over on one elbow to put on that accent voice he used whenever he talked about Baxter. Waiter, give me a hot chocolate and I want whipped cream and chocolate syrup on top. At how indulgent Yusuf been, Mama, Q's request met with a flat skepticism. Q returned Yusuf's stare with $1 million smile. Easy to act like you were a rich person when nothing had to be paid for. Yusuf put a hand to the table and lowered himself towards the younger boy, like it was some kind of negotiation, and in a way it was. I'll give it to you, but the powder will be stirred into water. Water? Is he lactose intolerant? Your mama blinked and stammered. That was news to her. It was news to you too. Yusuf stood tall once again. He told the facts straight. He is. Mr. and Miss Lynn only let him have hot chocolate occasionally because of that, and only when it's made with water. You're lactose intolerant too. Not being able to have milk must have been tough. Joey make herself lactose intolerant too? I don't know why you keep staring at me. What'd I do? Yes. That was another thing you had in common, you guys. They may not be here in person, but I will still follow their wishes. Fine, you can make it with water. Just witness an incredible downside of being so well known. Everybody was aware of what you were supposed to be doing, and could call you out on it. The key was a compromiser, not a quitter. And I saw the whipped cream. That's the most important part. You squeezed hands together. The person at an interview morphed into a pitiful beggar act. Big shot rich guy attitude sure hadn't lasted long. Yusuf remained calm, the face of such pleading, barely scratching his hairy chin. Because I respect your parents, I will give their son a full cup of milk. But because I'm not your parent, I can look past a bit of whipped cream today. Yeah, thanks, Uncle. Hot chocolate secured. Q smoothly transferred his tilt from his right elbow out towards the world. The left, the one inward tea table. I'm your uncle. Kids, he knows. Just get to call him that. Like how Terrence only is everyone's. Oh, wow. Really? Now you need Granny, and now you might have an uncle too. He was already offering presents. Small family Mama and you are getting a whole lot bigger. Tarek couldn't remain quiet any longer. You were honestly surprised she waited this as long as she did. Wide-eyed and rambling, Tarek went through the process of a special drink. He had tea? Yes, various types. Then I went chamomile or apple cinnamon. Okay. It has to have sugar and milk in it. Do you have honey? Some add notes, one after another, keeping track of what she didn't want, like, been easier. So that's about it. Young lady swished her spoon around like conductor's baton. The drink order had been grand opera. Woo! Wonderful, you should get something fun. It is the first day of school. That's its own reason to celebrate. Now, what do you want, Beanie? Just remember, your parent is here. And she wouldn't want you to get anything with too much milk either. Lactose intolerant as well? Exactly. I'll keep that in the back of my mind. Even if Beanie finds her way here without you. Cover milk. That's okay, it wouldn't do that anyway. Still appreciate how responsible everyone establishment is. You too, huh? That's a backload to be part of. Oh well. Better kids, but she'd go on. Plenty of options. Tell the waiter what you were thinking. Self. Whisper an answer to Mama. You pointed on the menu at what you want. Shake your head, not wanting to do this at all. Tell the waiter what you wanted, and that said was water, glass of cola, one cup of orange soda, lemon lime soda. Can I get ginger ale? Do you have apple cider? The cold kind? You have hot apple cider. I'll have hot tea too. Just normal root beer. I want a root beer float, a glass of lemonade. You have Shirley Temples. What about high chocolate? It could be mixed into water, coffee. Shirley Temple. Right. Shirley Temple. After a nod, Yusuf transferred the pen to the same hand that held the notepad. He lowered them both. I'm still in the middle of this game, Risa. I'm still. I'll return shortly with your drinks. Please take a moment to browse the menu. Left you there, leaving the wide, purposeful strides. Mama watched him walk away. Small town hospitality is a real treat, isn't it? Okay, look. We could go on. Just take that to where we are in middle school. Yeah. The end of the middle school year. And my God. I glanced through the meal options. During the time, the man who had the ham and the hat left. The ham was gone. Still had the hat. Then Yusuf reappeared to serve around drinks. He put in the dinner order before he left. Left you to enjoy his gift. Enjoy it you did. From the very first sip, it was so yummy. He knocked back his mug of hot chocolate gusto and got a whipped cream mustache for his efforts. Imports and so much milk, sugar, and honey that she spilled over the top of the cup. She got the level back down by bringing her face nearer to the table and sucking up the drink without touching the glass. Finally, she made use of that spoon she'd been cradling the entire time to make slurry. No more dipped down the sides. Mama served the once-in-a-decade root beer float as slowly as possible. She didn't care if the ice cream melted. Nothing was loud or fast or busy at the diner table. Person pretty much had to take it easy in a place like that. There was no other way to be. When it arrived, the main course tasted great. Grumbly's stomach was grateful for that. Tamarick and Q stuck to grown-up appropriate conversations over dinner, like what you learned in class. There were a lot of things kids could only talk about with each other. Mom shared all about her day, including a horrifying story about how she thought there was a mouse in her bedroom. After catching it underneath one of the moving boxes, it turned out to be a larger than normal heap of dust. She insisted the bad lighting in there could have fooled anyone. Then the food was gone, sort of. You weren't able to finish everything. It was too much. You were able to finish every bit. Your mama didn't. So that. Mama hardly touched half of the side that came with her home-style meatloaf. We plan to take them home to add to our lunch tomorrow. You were right, Q and Tamarick and you were all a total match. They left not one crumb nor a single drop either. Plates that were empty got stacked and used napkins were piled on top. Your mom made sure the table was as neat as a mess of dirty stuff could be. The tower dishes caught your waiter's attention and Yusuf approached your booth once more. He always had something in hand when he stopped by. This time it was a frayed fox leather folder. Yusuf placed it on the table, got a better look then, and gold letters across the top. It said thank you. Brought the check before Mama needed to ask for it. Hello, I hope you enjoyed your meals. They were wonderful. Thank you for asking, and thank you again for the drinks. Mom's praise brought a grin to Yusuf's face. The local waiter toyed with a buckle on his apron, straightening it like it was a Medal of Honor pinned to his chest. He served his customers well that night. Thanks for coming in. You pay at the front. I'll handle it. Oh, and can we get a couple of to-go boxes? Yes. That's great. One more question. Mama lowered her voice in an extremely strained whisper as though the people in the next booth were secret listening in conversation. The diner table. But seriously not let that go. Is the pun on purpose or did someone miss an N? Grimacing, Yusuf glanced over his shoulder. He shared her pain and her concerns about being heard. I would not have chosen that if it had been up to me, but yes, that is the intended name. Oh, there you have it. You're right, Beanie. That's all. Thank you for your gracious help tonight, Yusuf. We feel extremely welcome. Glad to hear it. Good night, everyone. Bye. Thank you. Nice meeting you. Early, good tip, Mama. Bye and thanks. Great. Wait for Earl. You sighed impatiently. You sat there silently waiting until he was gone. Bye. Thank you. You called for one last friendly smile, then took the pile of dishes and cups off the kitchen. You could stand up for a minute, dear. I need to get past. Now, not without some hesitation, you scooted out of your seat, having fun, and it was practically over. Mama had a few words as she got to her feet. Stay in the booth. I'm gone. I'll come right back, and then we'll pack up the leftovers and head. Yep. Jumped in the opposite direction. You footsteps repeated thumbs against the carpet. You had the booth to yourself then. None of the grown-ups were left. He was sure of that. He abruptly propelled himself further across the table, always like he was ready to pounce. I found the stuff. That was as long as he could hold a straight face. He erupted with laughter. Can't believe you've broken my backyard again. 2 days in a row. Not just 2. I've gone through there lots of times whenever I want to get to the path. I want you to have a surprise. You deserve something nice. Did you like it? Ooh, success. You're welcome. You want to keep people out, so get a fancy. Sorry, you mad? You turned him with a giggle, shrugged unapologetic. You smiled shyly to yourself. He saw it. You froze in embarrassment. He actually saw it. Turned him with a giggling. It was pretty cool. Thanks. Tamarick was brimming with pride over the results of her adventure. He sighed softly and pattering stopped. He had returned, and Tamarick gave a big shrug. Watch her reach up her arms. With a spoon, you can sense the movement of her legs on the table. I mean, Opa might really be asleep when I get home this time. Oh no, are you gonna hold down the doorbell for 5 minutes? He joked. I'll be banging on the door. Old people are funny. Really, my mama stays up way later than that. Figure something else. Promise. I'm calling. They're probably here. The phone ring. Very good idea. They have the key? He looked at her questioningly. Quietly listened. He gasped. He rolled his eyes. Am I gonna hold down the doorbell for 5 whole minutes? Let's actually go with, there's something. Thank you. Maybe I'll have to sleep outside. I'll hide under a bush in my backyard. What? Not really. They'll get up. That was all she wanted to say about it, and Tamarick started to talk about a totally different thing. Proud about tapping her heels against the back support of the booth. I came to this diner place a few days ago. Before that, I never... Well, I've been here tons of times. Me and my mom and dad are regular. Oh, I've never been around anywhere. In fact, you could be now. 2 down, 8 to go for Tamarick. 1 down, 9 to go for me. or something. It could be a dozen that makes somebody a regular. Or his attempt at giving regular advice tapered into nothing. He might have been one, but thinking ever what made somebody normal somewhere wasn't easy. Oh, guess what? That question came with a low chuckle. Me and Opa weren't going to let me come again for weeks. Because of you, they were wrong. Thanks for bringing me, Beanie. You're welcome. Her bright eyes fluttered closed, and the photography kept going. It was sun left. Feeling warm and sleepy, you felt every second of what you'd been through lately. You've done so much, I met a lot of people. How did that much happen in only days? It was unbelievable. Against your will, your body slid lower in the booth. Gravity was suddenly a lot harder to resist. Getting top was no longer an option. Drowsy gaze wandered towards the window in the dark night beyond. There had been nothing in the parking lot beside the diner. Tiny lamppost. I expected to look at anything, but it was raining. That you could see, water shooting down the glass pane. At some point, he walked from the car into the diner table. The sprinkle of fall began. Said he couldn't hear it happening. He did a thump thump thump. Match though. He always loved the rain. It was never too much. He always loved the rain, especially when it was really stormy. Regular rain just got in the way, but real storms were exciting. Rain could be nice sometimes. Wish it'd go away. Rain could be nice. Best when it's stormier though. Rain had to happen sometime. It was a good thing or a bad thing to you. Hey, when it rained, it made you feel sad. Scary rain. Why would you want to get drenched? Normal rain was nice, but it was scary if thunder or lightning happened. Rain wasn't good ever, but it was even more terrible than lightning. I always loved rain, especially when it was. Sometimes even more, you stared absent-mindedly at the black pan. Each time you opened your eyes after a slow, heavy blink, pattern droplets, the window changed. There are endless orange, red, and yellow and gold grove. That wasn't everything striking about the current. But there were thick gray clouds that showered the world was just as more ominous of a place. You thought of fall, the picture you had was a drops of water falling. Had arrived. Family went to go out to eat. You went to a local diner and made you special because you needed to leave at a house with a room that was all set up and waiting for you to go back to. Rocking, you continued your studies as a student at North Care Elementary School. You were in room 24 with Miss Murray for the teacher. Got your neighbors, you know who they all were. You had friends. You were going to be in that place for the rest of autumn. Be there still for winter and New Year came. These would be coming and going with you in Golden Grove for sure how long. What you didn't know was that every moment of it was now your life. Woohoo! Save. Guess who's done? Oh. Done. Done, 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 done. I'm still. Yep. Alrighty. On to something else now. Raid. Alrighty, who do I raid? Do I raid Risa or Rav? They're both doing the 24 hours, so what do we do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? That doesn't help me. I could also just go and eat Gerald to someone else, but I feel like that's just there. Did I even hit the actual ending soon? No. Again. One. Just say one name. That's all I wanted was one name, Crow. One name. That is all I needed. Not two. Voice. You are not helpful. That is not one name that I wanted. That is a mixture. That is a mixture, sir. I'm already done. Alrighty, y'all. I shall see you all tomorrow for the drinking stream that I'm doing with Risa. With Rav not drinking, I think. But, you know, we'll be playing, Repo, and Crow will be joining us that day. So, get ready to have Crow join us. So on that note,